I have been using this horde base for all my hordes up until about day 42 on every single playthrough I've done in Alpha 20. And today I'm going to be showing you step by step how to build it, how to upgrade it, when to get rid of it, and I'll even tell you how much resources you'll need for it. Let's get into it. The super basic version of this base requires 2008 wood, 2000 cobblestone, and 852 iron. But that iron is actually only needed if you want a backup defense system in the form of hatches. You shouldn't need all of those hatches in the first week, but it is something to consider. You'll also of course need at least a stone axe to upgrade blocks, or you can use a hammer or a nail gun, which would be preferred. You'll also need some kind of shovel to dig up terrain blocks. So this first step is very simple. You want to take some of your wood and use it to build precisely 200 wooden frames. While they're crafting away, you want to dig out your foundation spots. To do this, you want to pick the spot where you want the start of the staircase to be and dig 5 blocks in a line like so. Once that's done, you want to take some of your wooden frames and build a simple staircase. You want to start with 5 blocks in the trench, 4 on top of that, 3 on top of that, 2 on top of that, and then 1 on top of that. Pretty simple. If you just got this game and you don't even know how to use blocks, you want to drag it to your hotbar and then right click to place it. Then with your upgrade tool equipped, you want to upgrade the block by holding right click. You'll need the resources in your inventory to do that. Next, we want to open the build menu. You can do this by holding R and selecting the top option, or just by pressing Shift R. You want to use the search bar to search for stair and grab these standard stair blocks. Build yourself a staircase on top of the blocks you just placed, like so. Now you have a frame for your staircase that zombies will use to try and attack you. Next, from the topmost block, we want to build out 8 more cubes. After the 8th block, you'll see that you'll have a pink box with a red filling. This means that if you place that block, the whole thing will collapse, so avoid placing more than 8 blocks. Next, we want to stand just below the final block of that bridge, look down and dig down a block. Then you want to build a pillar from that hole you just built up to the bridge using frames. Make sure you start from the lowest point upwards so that you don't add more weight. Now your bridge is supported and you don't really have to worry about it collapsing. Next to that pillar, you want to dig out 7 more blocks of a trench in line with the bridge. With that hollowed out, you want to fill the entire trench in with frames, and then build up even more so that the frames all line up with that bridge we built. This is the initial phase of the base done, so we want to reinforce all the blocks you've placed so far into cobblestone, making sure to reinforce the 2 pillars holding up the bridge before you start reinforcing the bridge itself. This is because upgrading a block increases its strength to hold up other blocks, but it also increases the weight of the block. Meaning if you tried to hold up a cobblestone bridge with just wooden frames, the bridge would probably collapse. So to begin phase 3, you want to build out either side of the main base section so that where the bridge ends, you then have a 3 block wide floor. Reinforce these blocks because they will also be holding up the walls and will need to be cobblestone at least to take the weight of that. Next, you want to build 2 doorways on each end of this main section of the base, making sure that there is at least 2 blocks above the actual door hole, otherwise zombies will pile up and run over the base, which you don't want. Reinforce all these blocks up to cobblestone because they can be quite annoying to get to later. Next, you want to fill in the walls between these 2 doorways. You should have 2 walls, both with 4 blocks high from the floor, and it should look like this. Next, reinforce those walls. Okay. So the super easy bit is done. It's time for the really fiddly bit. You need to go into the shape menu and search for railings. Railings are a very unique block that will stop zombies from getting to you, but you can shoot, throw grenades, or even repair right through this block. And we're going to use this for our vulture guard roof. So you want to take your railings, hold R and select advanced rotation. To rotate a block, you can press R. If you're cycling through the rotations and you go past the one you want, you can actually press the left mouse button to go back in the other direction instead of going through the entire cycle again. You want to rotate the railing so that it's flush with the top of the front door. This will give you a flat ceiling, which means zombies will not be able to jump over your hatches if they get past the initial defenses. Next, you want to select the frames back in your build menu and build 3 blocks at the back of your base. Then in the build menu, you want to select any kind of ladder and build 5 of them. 2 on the back wall to let you get onto the roof, and 3 hanging off the side at the back. Make sure that you have to jump to get onto these ladders, as zombies can climb ladders but they will never try to jump onto ladders. I personally don't reinforce these ladders because I do like being able to pick them up in an emergency, in the very low chance that something does go horribly wrong, and they do start piling up for no reason. But that is mostly paranoia and it's never actually happened to me in my many hours of using this base. Next, you want to climb up onto the roof of your base, select those railings again, select advanced rotation again, and rotate them this time so that they're flush with your roof. This railing design will keep vultures out of your base while letting you shoot them, and the ones on the inside will stop zombies from being able to jump over your hatches. Now, reinforce your railings. Phase 2 is complete. Go ahead and make sure all your blocks are fully upgraded to whatever material you want them to be. The next part is the bit that's going to save you from the zombies. Take a railing and rotate it so that it's flush with the front of your base. This is going to let you shoot through at any crawlers or dogs. Next, search for a plate in the build menu and rotate it so that it sits directly on top of your railing. This is going to stop crawlers from piling over each other and getting in. Next, go back and search for the word small. You should see the small I-beam. Rotate this first one so that it's against the railing but in line with it like this. And then rotate the second one so that it sits directly on top of the previous beam. Next, you want to grab plates again and place 4 of them so that they provide extra support for the 2 beams that you just placed, aka place them on either side of the door. Next, you want to craft yourself a secure wooden door and 7 iron hatches. Place the door on the outer block of your base and rotate it so that it covers the rear entrance. You want this door here and you want it to be closed during Horde nights because spider zombies will try to jump towards you if they can see you. So if a spider zombie spawns behind your base and looks right at you, they can get close and try and jump right up into your base. Also, cops will be able to spit at you if they can see you, so you want to keep this door closed on Horde nights so that no cops or spiders can actually see you and attack you from behind. Because if they can see you, they can hurt you. Next, you want to take your iron hatches and place them on each of the floor blocks inside. To place them correctly, you want to face towards the bridge and rotate them until the large panel is on your left and the small panel is on your right. Repeat this on each of the floor blocks and then upgrade them all to level 3. If these front defenses break, you can raise the hatches to stop the flow of zombies and fight from behind it. And then you can keep falling back if they keep breaking the hatches. Eventually you will run out, but 7 layers of backup should be more than enough to save you. And the last thing we need to do is improve the stairs. What I like to do is dig out 3 blocks either side of the staircase, fill it in with blocks, and then place stair blocks in the middle of both sides. Then take corner stair blocks and place them either side of both of those blocks. You want the stairs here to keep the flow of zombies going, because you actively want the zombies to get up the stairs as quickly as possible so that they don't bunch up and start damaging the stairs, because if the stairs break, the base fails, so keep them moving. We slow them down by adding a block bridge that they have to cross, but the stairs should be as smooth as possible. So there you go, you have the super simple basic version of this base, but don't worry, the upgrades are very simple. This base as it stands will easily hold against the day 7 Horde. Just remember to keep all those front blocks repaired, and thanks to us using railings, we can reach any of the critical blocks from inside the base on Horde night. Major weakness of this version of the base though is going to be the main foundation. One block is not very solid. Zombies generally won't try to attack that, but if they take fall damage and go into rage mode, they will take a few hits at it, and if they manage to take out a couple of blocks there, you're gonna be in trouble. For that reason, I would recommend you spend another 80 blocks or 800 wood and cobblestone and beef out your foundation so that it's 3 wide and every single block is fully supported from bedrock. If you want to make this nice and clean up to 300 blocks, you can take another 20 blocks and extend that plate reinforcement over the entire front of the base. This will give you an extra block's worth of protection, but it won't take up as much space or mess with pathing or anything like that. I seriously do recommend this upgrade to just absolutely guarantee that nothing goes wrong, but this cheaper version should work 95% of the time for day 7. For day 14 though, you're definitely going to want to get this beefy one up and running. This is a pretty cheap base design, at least for a base that isn't using any kind of pathing bugs, so you can be pretty confident that they're probably not going to patch this, although you never know. All in all, it costs about 300 blocks for the beefed up version, and those 300 blocks will of course cost you about 3000 wood and 3000 cobblestone, which you can start gathering on the morning of day 7 and then build the base in time for Horde Night. It's very cheap and pretty time efficient for how effective it is, and it'll last you right the way through until day 21 like this, maybe even longer. At a certain point though, I would highly recommend you do get this up to concrete. Again, not super difficult to do, but you won't need concrete until like day 21, maybe day 28. If you really want to drag out the use of this base and get your money's worth, you can make it last to about day 35 or day 42 by adding some steel to some key areas. This upgrade costs exactly 500 steel, which isn't exactly hard to come by day 35 for most people. I'd actually recommend though that you start building a bigger base when you feel like you need this steel to keep this thing going. This base is very weak to demolition explosions because it's reliant on one path. I don't like making my videos longer than they have to be, so if you don't believe in the effectiveness of this design, here's 2 videos from 2 old series that I did where I test the variations of this design. Check them out if you want to see it in action. Also, subscribe. Thank you to my channel members and patrons for making this video possible, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.